Hello friends. So let's talk about the director's role. So in the last video, we were talking about the cinema and the elements required, and I told you to form a team and select the most suitable person in your team as a director. So before we start a film project, what we need is an idea and somebody as a writer who could convert that idea into a story. And with my guidance, I will be helping out in converting that story into a professional script. So that is the part of the writer. We will be talking about writer and the script writing in the next session. So we talk about once we have an idea and a writer ready, so we need to understand what is the role of a director. So the script finally comes to the director's desk. He sees that script as an image, and the director need to do a storytelling sessions. So once the people who are listening to that story of that script, and they can also have the same visuals, or they can imagine the script as an image, so it means that the director is a successful storyteller. So this is very important, that what is the perspective of a director to see that script and how he into words, into a storytelling format, makes the other team members visualize that script. So before we move ahead, you need to understand who are the people who work under the director. So let's start. You can pen down all these points. So the first person who works under the director's command is the writer. Whatever changes director wants, he has the right to instruct the writer to please change the script, or to elevate the script, or to elevate the emotion. Remember one thing, entire storytelling project, filmmaking project is based on enhancing the emotion and conveying the emotion of the story to the audience. That's the only objective. There is no rocket science behind it. All the team members will be working on enhancing the emotion of the idea. And everything will be supporting it. So after the writer, there is something called DOP, the director of photography, or we call him the cinematographer. The man who is handling the camera should have the basic sense of camera handling. And I will be sharing my knowledge of camera in my camera session video. So the cameraman DOP also works under the director's desk under his commandment. And then you need to have actors. So actors are well briefed by the directors that what is the emotion in it, what is the motive of that story, how the emotion, because we have different emotions. So what emotion is being conveyed in the story. So it is briefed by the director to the actors. So now actor is performing and DOP is shooting. So there are other elements. You need to understand that there is something called a frame. So what is a frame? So what you see between the four lines, this is my frame. What you see between the four lines is your frame. Anything which is an extra object, anything which is a partly cut object is a bad frame. Your frame should be very clean, because going further, the director and the team needs to understand how to capture a story or a scene through a camera. Whatever you see between the four lines is a frame. And what helps in enhancing the frame? So you need to understand the location, the background. So you can make a point here. The first thing, without an actor, what camera captures is your location and your background. So your background enhances, communicates the emotion. The director needs to understand everything, every single minutest thing which is being covered in the frame is communicating to the audience. Anything which is not required in the frame will have a bad communication. The more unwanted things you have in your frame will serve a bad communication of an emotion to your audience. So which you will end up making a bad content. So my humble request to you is that you need to understand the importance of your frame. So set designer, background artist is very important to help the director in making the good sets. We can use props but you should have the right sense of using the props when you are executing your film project. So background is done, then the actor comes in. So there are few elements which helps actor. Acting is one part actor would do to communicate the emotion, but besides the actor's acting, there is the costume. What costume if you are executing a project and showing somebody who's very rich? So his costumes should also have that set that they communicate richness. I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you here. If you are trying to capture a scene where the actor is poor or below poverty line, so his or her costumes should communicate the same. So you need to have somebody who is a costume designer or responsible for the costume, who again works under the director's direction. So going further, similarly is the importance of the makeup, the grooming of an artist, the grooming of an actor. So the community he is dealing with, if he is a Sikh or Muslim or Hindu or economic stature, rich or poor, so the makeup and other things should help. They enhance the communication of an actor to the audience. So if you are children, if you need an actor who has to do your father's role, so don't pick up a team member or you put him white beard or something and you make him, so that will immediately, that emotion will break. Rather pick up a live character who is of that age, who can act the character of your father. So you need to understand that every single aspect which is being covered in the frame, whether it is your makeup, whether it is your background, whether it is your costume, whether it is your props, so everything is a communication to the audience, and they are either enhancing the emotion or diluting the emotion. The communication is only the emotion. All these people, they work under directly the director's command. So moving beyond this, the director needs an editor at the final stage of the film, so where the film has to be edited. So director should have a sense that what is the extra shots, where has to be the cut should come. So director is like a magician. We believe that this is a story being, a film is made, this is artificial actors, this is not real life, but in that time frame, in that particular time frame, whether it is 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 3 hours even, so we believe that this is going on, this is the truth. So that's the magic of a director. And then director actually hypnotizes the audience. Whenever director wants them to laugh, the audience laughs. Whenever director wants them to cry, the audience cry. So you need to understand that whatever director you have chosen in your team should be very responsible, and I have given all the inputs that what all director should input in his team, and I must tell you the team should respect the director's vision. So now what will happen? So if the director doesn't have a command on his team, what will happen? The writer will say, let's do the story this way. The actor will say, let's do the story this way. The makeup man will say, let's do the makeup this way. The costume designer will say that let's do the costume this way. The art director will say, let's do the art this way. So who is the responsible for it? Whose vision it is? So director should be one who has a good command over his team, and the team must respect the director's decision. Whether it is good or bad, you might have debates, you might have difference of opinions, but I would suggest either if you are not confident about your director, then replace your director. But have only one director. And one more thing I want to put in, there cannot be two directors. There can be an assistant director, but there cannot be two directors. So now coming to the role of an assistant director. So director is one thing more, he needs to understand the concept of a visual continuity. So there is something called visual continuity. Now like you are seeing me in these videos, my visual continuity remains the same. If in my last video my laptop was here, so it is still in the here. So if in the communicating scene, if you have a cut and I shift my laptop from here to here, so my continuity breaks. So if I change the set of my props, so if I use them as, if I'm using them as my props, if I shift them here in my next continuing scene, so my continuity breaks. So assistant director is the one who takes care of the continuity of the props, element, actor's position and everything, because director has a lot of things on his head that he cannot concentrate on continuity. And here in my learning, most of the assistant directors I have seen, they have understood that assistant director is something who is lining up the cast and the crew. That is not the main responsibility of an assistant director. Assistant director understands and keeps a note where was the last cut and what were the positions and from where to begin. And the continuity of a makeup, the clothes, everything remains the same. So that's the main responsibility of an assistant director, that he keeps the notes about the continuity, the visual continuity. So I'm very clear with the director's role and responsibilities. I hope I have communicated well. I've shared the best of my knowledge with you. And moving further on assistant director's role, assistant director is the one who gives a call time to the actors, what is going to be shot today, and who makes sure that all the requirement elements are there on the shoot. So I wish you all the best. Compiling up it here, we are very clear. The first step is, as I said, we need an idea, somebody to convert it into a story, then story into a script, and then we need somebody as a director who can visualize it. I have cleared you what is the role of a director. He is the commandant of the ship, and as I said, please respect him, please work under him, have faith in him, have belief in him. If you don't have belief and faith in him, please look for a director whom you blindly trust and you believe that he is capable of taking your project in the right direction. So before we move further, we will be taking a session on script writing. So my next video will be on script writing. So see you in my next session. Thank you.